Hello everybody and welcome to my channel Talking with Timaiah. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you're a returner, as always, thank you guys so much for your consistent love and support. It means so much to me. I genuinely can't even find the words to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I guess those are the words. So thank you, thank you, thank you, you guys. I really do appreciate you guys. So today's video, as you guys can see by the title, is just going to be a Q&A, but I also wanted to just kind of give you guys a wrap up of the semester. I found that I usually do this every year at the end of the semester or at the end of the school year, just pretty much giving you guys a debrief of like what my experience was like, how I did, how things are going, what my next steps are, what my next plan is, blah blah blah. So for those of you guys who do not know, I am a JD MBA student. So I know you guys see a lot of different like law students here on YouTube, or different college bloggers, or just students who are in their master's program and things like that. So I am the crazy student who is doing both law school and business school at the same time. Do I recommend it? I don't know. Is it for everybody? Absolutely not. Is it for me? Absolutely. But just to give you guys a little bit of insight about that, the way my program works is it is a 4-year program. So instead of getting my law degree in 3 years, what I am getting is both my law degree and my MBA in 4 years. So how my program works is I finished my first year of law school. Then I went into my first year of business school. So while I was in my first year of business school, I was not taking law school classes. I still was present on my law school campus because I was the president of the Black Law Student Association. However, I was not enrolled in law classes. I was strictly taking business school classes. So for an entire year, I was not taking law school classes, only taking business school classes. Then fast forward into my second year, which is the year that just kind of happened, or my second year of law school in my third year of the program altogether. I feel like that was kind of confusing. So after I finished my first year of business school, we fast forward into the year that we just completed. So it was my third year of school and starting my second year law school courses while still taking one class at the business school. So I was simultaneously taking both business school and law school classes, and it was very hectic and very challenging, but we made do. So I just completed my second year of law school and my second year of business school, and now I have one more year left, and it is my final year of law school. So 4 years, I have one more year, and we'll be done with the 4th year. So do I recommend the program? Like I said, I believe that it's really just all about preference and what your goals are or what you plan to accomplish. Myself personally, I am an entrepreneur. For those of you guys who do not know, I have a goal to ultimately be an executive of an entertainment company, and I always would like to be an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur with multiple businesses and multiple ventures. I am now also very interested and passionate about law, which I honestly just recently found out since working at my current law firm job. I really love it. I'm learning so many things I've never learned, and this is like my first time doing work that is not entertainment work or business centered work. So I'm doing like what I like to call real life legal work, learning the process of being a trial lawyer, learning the process of litigation, and I just love it. Like, I never thought I would be so passionate or love my job so much, but I really do. So we're gonna see what happens, but I'm really thankful and really grateful that I have a lot of options, so I'm not really limited to what it is that I can do. So about the program, what I will say a con with the program is the fact that when you're in law school, you develop or you acquire a very strategic way of approaching the material. It's a mindset that you'll never find at any other level of school. It's just really different. Like, thinking like a lawyer is just a different approach. It's very hard to articulate what it means, especially if you haven't personally taken law school courses, but if you have, I think you guys can quite understand where I'm coming from. It's really a learned style. Like, nobody hops into law school like, yes, I know how to IRAC, I know how to do this, and if they do hop in saying that, they're lying. Like, it's just a different way of doing things. The material is a lot more dense than other material you'll find in other programs, so it's just a different all-around way of learning. So I personally do not like the fact that I finally kind of got a grasp on what it means to be a law student, and then I have to take a full year off and do business school. Because this past year when I jumped back into law school, I kind of felt like I was a first year law student all over again. I really had to relearn how to approach the subject matter. I had to relearn how to really prepare for exams, how to outline, how to do all these things. And it wasn't as hard or as steep of a learning curve because I had done it before, but it wasn't nearly as easy as someone who might have finished their first year and then jumped into their second year 2 months later. So in that regard, I don't really like it. And if you're someone who has a hard time like jumping back on the wagon, I don't think that it's a really ideal way to do a program. You could always be someone who finishes law school and then after that goes and gets their MBA if that is a degree that you're interested in, or vice versa, getting your MBA and then getting your law degree. But like I said, it just depends on preference, and then there are other schools out there who don't even do their program like that. So I would just do some research if it is a program that you're interested in. Aside from that, it was a really great year academically. I learned so much. I was really challenged, but it was just a huge adjustment. So going into my final year of law school, I'm really excited. Some of the courses that I plan to take are remedies, trust and wills, criminal procedure. I want to take a trial advocacy course, and then I also want to take a bar prep course, just like the MBE bar prep course that my school offers. MBE is like the multiple choice section of the bar exam. And then another course that I'm thinking about taking, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Criminal remedies. Oh, I don't know if I said marital property, but marital property as well. And then potentially a copyright course. So we'll see. I'll definitely be letting you guys know what my schedule is. I don't have all of my grades back yet. They're honestly taking a really long time, but just judging off of how I did past semester and the grades that I do have back, I did relatively well, a lot better than I expected, especially considering I took a year off of law school. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to debrief and give you guys a little bit of insight. If you guys are new to my channel, some of you guys might be new, but I know a lot of you guys have been watching my journey, so all of this is kind of like, you know, you guys already know it. But now we're gonna just hop into the Q&A section. A lot of the questions that I received were kind of like repeat questions, but these are all questions that are kind of just about my life as a law student, as a business student, and then some of these questions are just about like my personal life, my personal brand, developing a brand as an entrepreneur and things like that. So I'm excited to get into the Q&A, and I do plan on doing more Q&As in my actual vlogs. So if you guys have any questions that you ever just want to ask me, be sure to comment them on one of my vlogs, or you can just send me a DM and I'll be sure to answer them. I want to have a Q&A section every now and then on my vlog. So here we go, let's get right into the Q&A. Okay, you guys, so as you can see, we kind of got quite a bit of questions. So I'm gonna try to go through all of these. A lot of them are repeat questions. So yeah, I'm gonna try to get through them. I don't want this video to be too long, so we're gonna just give it a go and answer these questions. What are some self-branding tips as I pursue my dream of law firm? I'm assuming that you mean pretty much like how to like show that you're the most ideal candidate, or to pretty much show like that you're a great candidate for that firm. So first thing is all about crafting. And when I say crafting, I mean crafting the things that you're going to be giving to whatever firm it is that you're applying to. So things such as crafting your resume and crafting your cover letter. So when crafting your resume, you not only want to think about what you want to include on it, but you also want to think about what you want to do in life to be sure that you have great things to include on your resume. So some great things are extracurricular activities, but what I've learned more and more in the legal field is that it's more so kind of about what you've done. So things such as jobs, they want to be able to see that you're able to work a job and actually be successful at it. So if you've done any previous internships, any previous jobs, even if it's something that's not exactly like what the firm you're interested in doing is doing, or even if it's something like a task that you did in undergrad, like you served as a resident assistant and you created programs for your residents, that kind of shows that you're able to be a leader. That kind of shows that you're able to be a self-starter, and it kind of shows that you're able to kind of be accountable for your own work. You really just kind of want to make yourself the ideal candidate by talking up and playing up the things that you've already done. If you don't have time to really go and get all this other great experience, look to the things that you've already accomplished and see, how can I make this seem more appealing? How can I craft this so that it can convey all of the hard work that I did during this role or during this position or during this job? So it's all about really crafting. And then in addition to that, I previously mentioned your cover letter. In your cover letter, do not just create a modeled cover letter that's the same that you send to every single cover letter, and there's no difference whatsoever, to the point where the firm doesn't even know, like, are you even applying for us, or is this just a general letter? You really want to make sure that it's specific to what it is that that firm does, and that it really seems as though you created that cover letter just specifically for the firm that you're applying to. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have a modeled cover letter that you kind of take from or edit or update whenever you're applying to different jobs, but you definitely want to just include important information about what it is that that firm does, or what interests you about that firm and that you plan to accomplish when you're working there for your job, or when you're working there as an intern or as a law clerk or a summer associate or what have you. So yeah, it's really crafting, playing up the things that you've already done, and really trying to gain that experience for the things that you feel like you might be lacking in, or that you feel like might be really ideal for that job. What do I wish I'd known before law school started? That's a really good question. I didn't really review these before. I didn't review all of these before, so this kind of sneaking up on me. What do I wish I'd known prior to coming to law school? I don't know. I wish I had more insight into what it took to be a law student, because I am a first generation law student. Like, nobody in my family has gone to law school, have gone to professional school, or have pursued a career in the law at all. So I am the first to have done that. So like a lot of my classmates, they were able to go to their parents or go to their siblings or go to close family friends to kind of get insight into what to do as a law student, as opposed to myself, where I was really hungry for that knowledge, so I just had to really acquire it on my own. So sometimes I do kind of wish I had maybe an in or somebody who could have given me that insight, but in a lot of ways I'm really happy that I didn't, because it made me very hungry, it made me very humble, and it also made me just very driven to be successful on my own. So yeah. Do I have any budgeting tips for students solely relying on loans? I have student loans, but I also have scholarships, and I feel you. Really good question, because most of us, especially when you're paying for this very expensive legal education, you're going to experience some loans, whether it's loans from your living expenses or academic loans. And honestly, if you guys have been watching my vlogs, I've been talking about how I'm really just trying to get my life together in every regard, reading so many books on financing, reading so many books just to kind of get more insight into how to handle that as well, because I'm not a professional at it. But what I will say is that while you're in law school, definitely spend below your means. It's so easy to get caught up in wanting to buy this or buy that, especially when you're like stressed with school. It's like everybody wants to treat themselves to Starbucks. Everybody wants to treat themselves to a nice dinner on Friday because they have such a stressful week. Just kind of control how much you're spending. Be very smart and fiscally responsible, and just really try to spend below your means. I would say when it comes to things that you have to buy a lot of, things like coffee, we need to be caffeinated. It's just kind of like a necessity. What I did was I invested in a really cool coffee maker because I realized I was spending too much money on Starbucks. So I bought a nice coffee maker, a nice Keurig that's super cute, and now I just kind of make my own coffee for school and for work. So that's like an expense that I don't have to worry about. And then if I ever want to treat myself every now and then, I can do that. But also just things like your textbooks. Try to find the most convenient or the cheapest textbooks that you can find. You don't need to buy new textbooks. If your professor says that you need this edition, you can usually find a used version of your textbook online. I would say look to Amazon, look to different online vendors where you can buy cheaper textbooks. A place where I go to buy all of my textbooks, if you're watching this, you guys get a really cool plug because I don't share this with a lot of people. It is gettextbooks.com, www.gettextbooks.com. And what's super great about this is it's very similar to like a Google Flights type of thing, where you put in the title of your textbook and it shows you all of the vendors who carry that textbook, and you can price match. So you can see the cheapest carrier, you can see the most expensive carrier, and then it just makes it really easy to make sure you're spending your money wisely. I really recommend that for textbooks. Just spending below your means, that's what I can tell you. I haven't gotten to the point of like paying off student loans yet. I still am in school, so I definitely this upcoming year, or even with my like money from my summer job, want to start saving so I can start paying off my actual student loans, because I think it'll just really be smart to start paying that now so I don't have to pay millions of dollars once I graduate. But yeah, we're all going through it. It's just understand that it's a sacrifice, and it'll be worth it. It'll work out. Just be smart with your money. When do you recommend working on outlines? I would say it depends on who you are as a person. For me, I'm the kind of person, when I start working on outlines so far out, I kind of like forget the information. So it's like I really have to relearn it again before the exam. So I'm not someone who likes to start outlining the first week of school, unless I just have a very firm grasp on the information. But I would say like this past semester that we just had, I really started like getting very serious about my outlines around February, March, and I had my exams in May. I didn't go as hard until like closer leading up, so maybe like more so in the March month, but I would say you don't have to go that far out. It's cool to just kind of have a framework and understand like what content you're putting in as you go. Some students do that, where as they go, after they cover each subject, they outline it. But what I realized when I used to try to follow that method is I kind of have to go back and re-go through all that information again and try to synthesize all that information again, because I kind of forgot stuff. But it just depends on what your preference is. Me personally, I like to do it like, you know, 2 to 3 months prior to exam time, start working on it, and then during the reading period, like go through it again, make a smaller outline, so like an attack outline, and things like that. But I would say it's all about preference, but that's kind of what works for me. What was your experience like living alone your first semester? I loved it. I love living by myself. I'm a twin, for those of you guys who don't know. So that was my first time like being alone. Now I currently live with my twin, so it's like, you know, I'm not alone. But I really loved it. Some people advise against it, but for me, I really wasn't comfortable with having a roommate my first year of law school. I had so many other things to worry about. The last thing I wanted to worry about was roommate drama. Like, are you gonna wash the dishes? Hey, do you mind taking the trash out? Like, no, I'll do it. Like, I just didn't want to worry about somebody else in my space. I wanted to be able to come home from a long day of school and like decompress, do my thing, and not worry about anybody like in my mix. So it was cool for me. However, I would say when it comes to money, it might be really smart for you to maybe find a roommate and you can spend less money on rent, especially if you're using student loans or you don't have a job and you just want to be able to use like a cost-effective way to live. I don't have a problem with a roommate. I have a roommate now and it's so much cheaper, but I loved having a roommate. I would have been fine having a roommate my first year, but I'm really happy with the way things worked out. I'm not against roommates. I have a roommate. I've had roommates in college. So I would say if you have to have a roommate, definitely do it, because it's really smart economically. But I really did enjoy it. I wasn't afraid. I felt protected. I felt safe. I'm very you know, safe about keeping my door locked and just making sure that everything is cool. But I really enjoyed living by myself. It was fun, y'all. It was like just living my life, like my own apartment. It was dope. But I really love having my sister around more, just because she helps me a lot with stuff. So yeah. Some people ask some questions that seemed really personal to them, and I don't really know. I guess I'll ask because they sent it. But somebody said that they want to transfer to a higher ranked school, but their grades are subpar and their depression is saying to withdraw. So I think they said a T14, so a top 14 school, which is great, amazing. I would say that I don't know much about the transfer process, because I got to my school, loved it, and could never dream of leaving my school. But if your grades are not at a certain level, just to be honest, like I want to give you a very honest insight from what I know about a top 14 school. They are really looking at grades. Like that's what they're looking at. They're going to be getting transfer students from across the globe, because a lot of students go to really lower ranked schools with the hopes to do really well, get top of their class, and then transfer into a top 14 school. So that's really like one of the first things that they're looking at is grades. I would say depending on what the rank of your school is, like my school is a pretty high ranked school. It's not T14, but we all typically get jobs, do great on the bar for the most part. I mean, it's a California bar, so it's not you know. If you know about the California bar, you know about the California bar, but my school really prepares students. There are a lot of schools that are not T14 schools that are just great schools, really great reputations, really great job placements, really good bar passage. So I would say maybe you can try to look into a school that might not be T14 but still maybe higher ranked than your current school that you're at. I don't know where you are for school now, but I would say that during the transfer process, grades are the sole thing that they really look at. They're not really looking too much to like your LSAT score or to your undergraduate like involvement or things like that they looked at when you were entering law school. It's really solely focusing on your grades. So I would say keep that in mind, but wanting to withdraw from your current school, I would advise against it. You're already there, you're already working, you're already grinding. Understand that nobody is a genius. We're all learning, we're all going through this. Some people might be doing better than others, but that does not have any bearings on what kind of lawyer or what kind of attorney you're going to be. It's a trial and error process. We've all taken a class where we just felt like, what the hell am I doing? We've all gotten a grade back where we're just like, well, what am I doing here? It's happened to the best of us. It's happened to me, and I'm very smart. I would say I'm very smart. I've gotten grades back where I'm just like, who took that exam? That was not me. Like, it happens, and you just have to take it, roll with the punches, and you have to realize that what am I going to do to improve? It's all about having a mindset about improving. Life is going to throw 1,000 punches at you. It's about how you deal with it. Depression is not anything to play with. It's nothing to take lightly. But I will tell you that you'll be so proud of yourself when you realize that even through the darkest times of your life, you persevered and you kept pushing and you did what you had to do. So I would advise against the withdrawing from your program, and I really hope that everything works out for you. How far in advance do you read for your assigned readings? A lot of times the night before, if we're gonna be honest, would I advise that you do that? It kind of just happens. It kind of comes with the territory. Sometimes you have so many assignments and so many things to do. I used to do something where I did all my reading on the weekends, but I forgot so much information that by the time the week or class came, I was rereading it because I forgot it. So it's all about what you can retain, what's best for you. Me personally, if I have a class that's on Thursday, I'm usually doing my reading on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday before that class. It works for me. It serves me well. It keeps the material fresh, and when I get called on, I know the answer relatively well because I just read it a few minutes ago. I don't know if I would advise it. Some people do like their reading far out in advance, but I will tell you, a lot of times when people do their reading far out in advance, when it comes to getting called on, unless they have taken really great detailed notes, they don't know it. For some classes, when I have a lot of reading, I actually will try to do my reading on the weekends and just take really good notes. But for the most part, if I have a class where we just have like a few cases to read, I'll usually read them like a few days before or the day before the class. And I never really have an issue with that, like at all. So, whatever works for you though. How do you balance maintaining a relationship and being in law school? So I got a few questions about being in a relationship. For those of you guys who don't know, I have a boyfriend. We've been together for a little while now, and it is a challenge being a law student, being a business student, and having a relationship, because I want to be a good girlfriend too, you know what I mean? But it's all about having a partner who understands that they cannot be a priority right now. So my boyfriend is a very hard worker, just as I am. So he knows that when I tell him, hey, I have to study, or hey, I have to go to the library, or hey, I can't go on date night because I have to do this, he's very understanding and very accepting of that, because he knows that we're trying to build a life together, and these things that I'm doing are going to really help us have a better life for our future children, for our future families. And whenever he has something to do, or he has something that is pressing and I want his attention, I have to realize like he's doing what he has to do for us to have the life that we want to live. So we really try to keep that in mind, but we also really try to make time for each other. So although he can't be my sole priority, I would say even small things, spending time with your partner, like watching a movie or taking a nap or just hanging out with our dog. We have a dog, Dwight, who we share. Follow Dwight's Instagram, it's so funny and so cute. But small things like that, we spend time doing that together. We also love just like having movie nights. Like we spend a lot of time together, but he's not having a relationship and being in school. What I would say is you have to put your priorities first. So if you can organize your life and be scheduled, like I'm really big about planning and organizing, it's really not too hard to have a relationship that's successful. The only time where our relationship is like, I'm barely even in it at all, is like during finals time. And you have to be understanding of that because it's final exams, it's a very short time. I don't have time to be going on dates or anything like that. Like school is my only priority when I'm preparing for finals, and he understands and accepts that. But during the semester, it's not very hard for us to really balance and have a relationship and have a good time as a couple. So yeah. How do you manage stress with everything you have going on? So I actually answered this question on my social media just because I get it a lot. And when we're in law school and we're in business school, or we're just having like a high stress career or just educational time, it's easy for you to just really lose perspective. So what I would say is the key way that I kind of deal with stress is just keeping in mind that the very things that are stressing me out, so I think, are the things that I prayed for and worked so hard to get. So I prayed and worked my butt off to get into law school. So the moment when things seem hard or seem like I just don't know what I'm doing, I have to really flash back and remember, like, you prayed for this life. You wanted nothing more at a time than to be in this very position. So you can't be here now and not take everything that comes with it. It's like praying to God, like, God, please help me get into my dream school, and then getting mad that you have homework. You can't do that. You can't think that you're going to get all of the good that comes with something and not take the bad as well. So I just try to have a good perspective about it and a grateful heart, and just be really happy that I'm here where I am. A lot of people didn't get to be to where they wanted to be, and I was blessed enough to have God put me in this position, and I worked hard enough to make it here. So I just try to keep that in mind. Between both schools, which do you enjoy more academically? Both have their pros and both have their major cons. Major cons. Law school is it's law school. Business school, I really loved taking classes that I was very, very passionate about. So I love taking classes like entrepreneurship. I love taking classes like marketing. I love taking classes like the creative classes that kind of really got my juices flowing as an entrepreneur. Things like economics, things like that. Classes that I was not a fan of in business school, but was the sole reason for me really being in business school, were classes like finance, classes like accounting, classes like business analytics. These are classes that are classes like strategic marketing. These are classes that or operations management. These are classes that are not that fun. It's numbers heavy classes that I'm not really skilled at. I was never someone who was great at numbers, but I knew that as an entrepreneur, as an executive, even as an attorney, it's really important to really know the numbers. And that's a skill and a trait that I really wanted to have. So those classes are not fun, but they are necessary. And then in terms of law school, there are some classes that I like and some classes that I genuinely just do not. Just now thinking about law school, law school, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, I've never walked into a law school class. There's some law school courses that I just really, really loved. So I don't know. Both have their pros and their cons. I will say that academically, I was under the impression that business school would be a lot easier than law school. I was honestly told that. But then once I walked into the doors of business school hell, I learned that I was woefully misinformed. Business school for me personally is a lot more challenging than law school is, just academically, because of the numbers heavy course load. Law school, the fact that you have one exam at the end of the year, it does induce some anxiety, but it's not nearly as challenging or overwhelming as having projects due every other day. If it's not a project due, it's a test. If it's not a test, then it's a quiz. If it's not a quiz, then it's this, it's that. It's always something to turn in business school, and that's also like another added layer of stress. So yeah, I like them both, but I dislike them both. There we go. There's no favorite. They both suck, but they're both great. There we have it. What do you recommend for those who didn't do well in undergrad but want to go to law school? I would say that your undergraduate grades are not everything. I know some people who did terrible in undergrad but did amazing on the LSAT and landed in top law schools. So I would say that if you didn't do great, as long as you did well enough to graduate, you can't really go back and change your undergraduate grades, but maybe taking a gap year and then just doing something that kind of shows your interest in the legal field. So maybe something like working as a legal assistant, or just maybe working as, I don't know, working somewhere like in a government building that is heavily focused on law, just something like that, where it kind of shows, or maybe doing somebody who I know actually did the Peace Corps for a year, or for a few years, or something like that, where you can just go and get some more experience doing something, and kind of shows your dedication to something else, and then really work really hard to do well on the LSAT. So that's what I recommend. Like, your grades are not everything, as long as you were able to make it out with your degree, that's what you need to get into law school. So I would say focus on other areas of strength. Focus on your LSAT, focus on your what is the word for it? Your LSAT, as well as like your, I can't remember the word, your essay to get in, I can't remember, it's been like 4 years. But just focus on other things that make you a great candidate. Don't focus on the bad, focus on how you can play up the good. That's my advice. What school should you complete? Law school or your master's first? It's all about preference. I personally like being in a dual program because I'm kind of getting them both done at once. But some people go and get their law school degree first and then go to get their business school degree, get their MBA, and then other people go and get their master's first and go to law school. It's all about preference. If you're somebody who maybe you want to go to law school, but you also want your master's and you didn't do as well in undergrad, you can go and get your master's first, and then you can use those grades and try to apply to law school that way. Like, that might work. And even if you have to send both grades, they'll still be able to see the progression in your grades and how you've improved and things like that. So I would just say it's all about looking at your situation. Me personally, I like the way that I'm doing it now, where I'm doing them both at once. Okay. How do you deal with FOMO feelings? So FOMO, for those of you guys who don't know, is fear of missing out. And I have such a crazy viewpoint on FOMO. It probably annoys some people, but it serves me well. I can't miss out on something that I wasn't there for. I'm not fearing missing out because you're never gonna miss out on something that you're not present for. So if you're not there for a reason, whether it's because you wanna focus on your mental health, you have something else to do. Like, there will be other events, there will be other occurrences, there will be other things for you to enjoy. If you're not there, genuinely just don't think about it. Like, I just don't think about it. Like, a lot of times I purposely miss out on things because there's something I saw, like JOMO, joy of missing out. Like, I have other things that I would rather do sometimes, or things that I have to do, and I have to be responsible and kind of get those things done before I can go have fun. Like, I just kind of have other priorities. So keep that in mind. When you're not somewhere, you're not there for a reason. You can't miss out on anything that you weren't there for. So that's how I deal with it, but I'm really unconventional, so that might not work for you. Another thing that you might be able to do is just ignore the situation at all costs. Like, just stay off of social media if people are posting about it, and just kind of focus on whatever it is that you're doing or what caused you to miss out. Just don't harp on it, because there will be other events, there will be other things, so it's not a big deal. Tips on taking care of a dog on a busy schedule. I have a 6-month pup at home. I feel for you. Dogs are a lot, you guys. If you're someone who you don't have a support system and you're just at home by yourself, and you're also in law school or business school, or just a very productive member of society, I would say double think it. It's a lot. If I didn't have my twin sister and my boyfriend helping me a lot with Dwight, I would be like up a creek without a paddle. But because I have a really good support system, that's kind of how I manage. They help me a lot. And then I also just have to wake up earlier, spend time with him, but it's an added job. I will say it's not like glitz and glamour. It's literally like you're taking care of somebody else. You're taking care of a puppy. It's a lot of work, so if you don't have a great support system that can honestly help you like lift the burden, I would advise against getting a puppy until you can kind of, you know, have a team of people who help you. So that's my advice. How did you, or how does someone find their niche or niche to start a YouTube channel? I'll speak from experience. As a young Black woman, I would say that I did not see a lot of representation reflected doing the things that I want to do or wanted to do. And I still don't see a lot of it, but it's definitely growing. So I really believe that it was kind of my mission, honestly, to really kind of be that representation for other people, other minorities, other women, regardless of what color their skin is, just women in general. The legal field and just being an executive or being a boss woman is not something that is highly idealized. Like, a lot of people really still do look down on women who are really career and goal oriented. So I really wanted to kind of be that representation and just show my journey. I'm the first person in my family to do this. A lot of people are the same. So just to be able to see someone like you, similar in whatever aspect they might be similar to you in, it kind of gives you reassurance that you can do it too. So that was my reason and my purpose for starting my channel. But of course I want to expand and do so much more, because I do life coaching, I do create motivational content. So I just kind of wanted to expand my brand in all aspects and just be myself, talking with Timaiah. But I would say how other people find their niche or their niche is, what is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you're currently working towards? Somewhere somebody in the world can relate to what you're doing, no matter what it is that you're doing. So I would say just try to look deep into see like what's interesting about your life, or what are you working towards that other people can relate to. And that might be you know, something that you could consider. Some people like to do makeup channels because they love to do their makeup. Some people like to do just vlog channels because they just like to document their life, and they want to be able to one day look back on all these things in their life, and then other people enjoy watching it too. So I would say just whatever it is that you're passionate about or interested in, it's all about what you want to do. But this was the reason why I started my channel. All right, you guys, that's the last that I have for the Q&A. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on my post notifications so you don't miss any future uploads. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out.